Can some animals carry things on them? And what I mean by the kind of things that could actually ruin your life. It's something to really do ask yourself. We do live in a time, hey, having a pet is a great thing. I've met people who basically said that um, they've had a lot of dogs or, they had quite a few cats, and they said there's only a few of them that actually made such a deep impression. They were so special. And getting back to my question, is more of a question and statement. Can some animals have things on them? The answer is yes, unequivocally yes. Most of the time when we go out, or anyone for that matter goes out to adopt, is to go to get an animal. They're gonna adopt, right? Now, if you were a childless couple in the olden times, and I think people still do it, they go and adopt a child, right? They will go and look at the history. They will do a lot of research upon where the child is from, and the type of genetics that are involved, behavior issues with the parents given the drugs. There's a whole bunch of things involved, right? The unsuspecting and the naive people will usually bring a child into their home. And there's been stories of this where the child ended up turning to be a murderer, or totally um, became like a devil, and totally bypassed all the good things that they did for that child, and that child ended up becoming very evil despite all the good things they did. Right? It's the same thing like with the animals. When you get an animal, let's say you get an animal from another part of the world, there are things that go on in the environment when the animal was. There's people who practice certain things behind the scene, and as they're doing what they're doing to the animals, you don't even know that they've made a prayer over the animal in the name of their quote unquote good intentions. Or some people even will do it in the name of bad intentions. They will put curses on the animal, so the animal comes to you and ruins your life. I think to identify whether or not an animal that's in your home is really evil is that you're going to catch certain times, and you will know it's a one liner communication. You're going to know that you know that you know that animal's looking at you with something very evil. Huh? You're going to have other times that you can be all fine and dandy, and then you have a really, really, really important, most like it could be a very life changing appointment or situation come up. That animal will do certain things that they would not have done any other time to really ruin it for you. And it works the same way too with people in our lives, right? Doing a lot of research about who or what is coming or going in our life. And other people would refer to the term or frequency, right? I met animals, dogs and cats. They were extremely amazing. Something about them, something very special. I've met animals that were with this one dog, for instance, that was abused terribly. And the dog out of fear would basically freak out and attack of one or two times. But I remember I was sitting alone with the dog, and I could tell that dog was hurting, and it was bringing a lot of its fears and its trauma into the situation. Because you think how they must feel that they're in a new environment, they don't know what to believe, and they do have feelings. I don't think they don't. They're called their souls. Animals have souls. Okay. But I remember I looked and I just, don't think you can't, because you can. But I looked at this dog and I said something to the effect, don't mess it up for yourself. your sweetheart, and you can meet somebody who really will love you. And if you want to be adopted, and by the way, let me backtrack a little bit. It was in a rescue. So the dog wasn't adopted by the rescue. The dog was just being fostered in a rescue until they were able to find a future owner, right? Do you know, after I said that to this dog, he got it. After that, the dog was totally well behaved. He understood that he was safe and that his behavior can stop now. His fearful, aggressive behavior can stop. He doesn't have to do that anymore to protect himself. He's protected. And that's the thing with animals too. You can talk to them. You can even talk to them through your mind. They hear you. They're very smart, more smart than people give them credit for. Get them back. There are some animals that you'll even meet, just even looking at a picture, and something will just not be right. And if it isn't an arena, I'm gonna go down and pop. Some people say, "Oh, it's a little whacked out, whatever." That's your opinion, right? I've seen enough to know that it is true. The spiritual world is very real. Sometimes the animal does require a certain level of spiritual cleansing before you can go to step two with the animal. Especially if the animal starts doing certain things in your house and you think, no, 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 it's just a behavior, it's just trauma, no, it's just stress. And you start to realize, no, there's something using this dog or cat. There's something going on here. And you will feel it. You will feel it in the environment. I've had, I've experienced one dog, I know there's a few of them, but you show all this love and all this goodness to the dog, and the dog was totally soak it up. And when the other person who adopted the dog came in the environment, that dog became a totally different person. And the dog got afraid that the person had so much possessiveness over the dog that he was or it was a she. She was afraid to allow me to give her the affection in comparison to if the person who adopted her wasn't there. And it blew me away. Not that the dog not only knew, but the dog was very well aware of the issue of possession. And depending upon the level of the influence of where an animal may feel safe in the environment of an evil spirit, that animal will respond accordingly to who or what is possessing the animal. Some animals have been through so much, but and let me just say this, I've met some animals that you could just sit there and just shake your head and go, wow, I can learn so much. They're some of the most, they're way better people. They could teach a lot of people human etiquette in a big way. They could teach people to get back to what humanity really means, because their manners, their dignity, their level of gratitude, something in their eyes, the way they look at you, and to let you know, and you'll know. Some people have been stayed up. Some people are not even really spiritually aware. Will say something to the effect, "Well, I could swear she just said I love me, I love me, I love you," and they do that. But getting on the topic, and I'm probably not going in depth enough as I should. If you are one that you have or you're going to adopt an animal, really, you're gonna have to backtrack and do some homework. And whether or not you're a praying person, I would advise you to pray, because animals are probably one of the biggest portals of demonic spirits in a person's home, than besides objects and beside what people are doing in their own homes with watching dark movies, listening to dark music, or even getting involved in dark arts like the occultic, whatever. Animals, animals are a living being, and they are one of the biggest hosts, I should say, of either divine activity or demonic activity. And if you're a person, as my channel is geared towards people who are leveling up and people who want to go forward, and Christians listening to this, is that don't be naive. Don't be naive about this thing called life, and anything that has a soul can, I repeat, can be accessed at any given moment by something from the light or something from the dark world. And it's not to be paranoid about this stuff, but I'm going on the avenues that if you are going to, or you have an animal in your life, pay attention to them a little more about what's going on with them, whether or not the animals can be good for you. We're talking years. We're talking years. I mean, and that's why some people get rid of animals. That's why some people abandon them. We don't, I mean, it's inhumane to do all of these things. But sometimes some people, I'm not saying for all people, but some people, they can't explain to other people to say this animal's got to go. Other people, what's really sad about the animal kingdom is that they'll get those animals and they'll possess them and they'll project upon them and they'll turn them into something that an animal was not supposed to be. And just to put this note in, animals are extremely submissive. And one of the reasons people like to flatter themselves about this, but one of the main reasons is because you are their bread and their butter. You're not only their world, they're so dependent upon you, and all they know is instincts and survival. And that love that they give you is based upon the pack mentality within a pack, and they give you and they give you that faithfulness out of their nature. Huh? Animals are not people. People, some people, some people are, well, they can be worse than animals, but animals need to be looked at very carefully and also understand they can be some of the greatest blessings, because whereas human beings could not be allowing the access of God, that animal has all the credentials and all of the examples of God's nature operating in them if it's a good animal. And it will shine through. And by being like that, they're very present. So I'm talking about a good dogs or cats. Just having them in your home can bring a whole lot of good blessings in the environment. There's even me stories about animals who are really good animals are able to see and detect ghosts. They were able to detect spiritual activity, and they are extremely highly sensitive and a high level of an asset to have in your life. But just where I'm going with this is just to be very careful that you don't have something that's also has access and is being accessible by demonic activity. Have a good day and do like and subscribe. Thank you.